Back in the day, when I used to make far less money than I make now, I used to buy a lot of branded goods and designer clothes, like loads of Ralph Lauren, lots of Air Force Ones, spending £120 on each pair of Air Force Ones, Huaraches, Air Max 90s. And that was truly because I wanted to show off my newfound status, because I was young, I was a teenager, and I was making money as a piano teacher. And I wanted to show off that, look at me guys, I'm now here, like I'm making money. After a while, I really didn't care to show off to anyone, because what was the point of showing off to anyone when I was already there? Ever since then, I have not bought a pair of shoes over £50, because I realized these things that I was spending my money on didn't provide me with any long-term value. I'm not getting any further ahead by buying these things. Let me now start to buy things that actually move me forward in my life. The things that rich people invest into are things you cannot see. You see, in the lower class, in the poverty-stricken areas, in the council estates, the ghettos, the projects, whatever you want to call them, people display their wealth by showing off what they're wearing. And it's really the lowest class of wealth, because, well, it's not even wealth, because those things are not an asset. They lose you money. Once you buy those clothes, nothing comes out of that. The real rich are buying things that you cannot see, but that are putting money into their bank account, a positive amount of money into the bank account every single month. Where you go to the hood, people are comparing, well, what Air Force Ones you got, bro? Wait, what sneakers you got there, G? £200, £300. It's nuts. Some of these people spend more on their sneakers each month than their actual rent. It's nuts. And back in the day when you're young in those kind of areas, people are comparing what phones they have. Like, if you've got an Android phone and your friend's got an iPhone, that makes you a loser. I'm not judging anyone, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, because I was exactly that same guy. I'd buy the latest new iPhone to display. Look at me. I've got the iPhone Pro Max. Not just the iPhone, it has to be the Pro and the Max, because I'm trying to show it off. I want to educate people here about what money even looks like. Because you see, the average person, if they were to see a rich person on the street, they would not recognize them. The average person would look at the guy with the Mercedes and dripped out in clothes, or the guy in an Audi that's got a Rolex, and think he's rich, rather than the guy who's scruffy looking, looks like he bought his clothes from Primark. The clothes are about 10 years old. You know that kind of like washed out look for clothes? Like when the clothes are now going a bit grey? Most of the time, rich people, that's what they dress in when they go to like normal days out. They dress in those clothes that we can see they've had it for like 15 years. And they're kind of going all grey, they're kind of starting to go. And more often than not, he's the rich guy. I have a friend, he's got a number of properties. He now lives in a 6 or 7 or 8 bedroom house. You know what, I can't even tell how big the house is, because he's got so many bedrooms in there, I cannot count. And if you were to look at him down the road, you would think that this guy is so scruffy. He's wearing basic clothes from like H&M. He's got that kind of washed out colour look to his clothes. No branded items on him. His kids don't wear any branded clothes, but he has multiple properties. His house is way bigger than probably... Is his house bigger than all his properties put together? That would be interesting to work out. I'm not too sure. But this guy's done so well for himself. But if you looked at him on the street, you'd think that he's an absolute loser. Most people couldn't recognize a rich person if you pay them to do it. They don't know the markers of true wealth. And the first markers of true wealth is the individual investing into things that you cannot even see, my G. You're looking at, oh, what you wearing, what car you're driving. So basic, because those two things, my brother, do not make you any more richer. They actually are a liability, because they're drawing money out of your account. But what you should be really looking at is how many houses they've got, how big is their business, what are they investing into their business, their stocks. See, you could see a guy that might have £10 million in stocks, but you cannot see it. That same scruffy guy might have £10 million invested into stocks, which he might be making 20k a year from each year in dividends. But you cannot see it, because the stocks, it's online. It's on paper. But you can't see it. You're going out there and you're looking for displays of wealth, physical displays. Only in the lower class and the middle class areas do people look for physical displays of money. That's why it always cracks me up when girls say the first thing I look up at a man is what shoes he's wearing. So you're going to judge a guy that's wearing a £200 shoes and think he's rich even though he's not. But then you're going to completely miss the guy that's wearing basic Reebok shoes. You might be wearing Umbro or even unbranded shoes, or maybe even a pair of shoes which is unbranded but might be worth £1,000, but you can't even tell anyway. You're going to completely ignore that guy for the guy that's wearing Giuseppe's on his feet, £1,000. You think that's the guy that's got the money, do you? It's actually real saddening to me because I know some people are even going to watch this video and completely ignore what I'm saying. They're going to judge a man from wearing £2,000 of clothes on him and then completely ignore the guy who's bought a house, has a multi-million-pound business. They're going to completely ignore the guy only because he came into the wedding in his Nissan car. You know, it wasn't a Range Rover, but you're going to completely ignore that guy because he looks like a freshie. He looks like a neek because he's got a Nissan car. But what you're missing out on is he's a multi-millionaire. But you're so foolish. You're looking for physical markers of wealth. But the real wealth you cannot see. If someone owns 100 houses, you cannot see that. If someone's got a multi-million-pound business, on first meeting of him, you cannot see that. If someone owns half of the FTSE 100, you cannot see that. And if you don't know what the FTSE 100 is and you live in the UK, that's your problem right there, my brother. If you don't know what S&P 500 is, brother. Because the average person is looking for the physical traits. He's got to have a nice car. They've got to have nice clothes, nice shoes, and then he's made it. If the haircut's dead, he hasn't made it. That's what you're looking at. You know, the average engineer working for, you know, the big companies in America like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, making $300K a year each. They're nerds. They dress like the people you see in Big Bang Theory. And you're going to completely disregard them because the guy from the hood who's still living with his mama, yeah, drives a leased Mercedes C-Class. And you think that's the guy for you. Well done. So over a course of time, my brothers and sisters, if you start to really grow the wealth mindset, you're going to start to realize that the things that you're buying into, people cannot see them. And because of that, they're going to think that you're not doing well for yourself. That's the big irony. To actually become rich, you're going to be doing things which make you seem as if you're not rich. Like, I know some people spend £500 a month on their lease, and within 3 years, that car is going to be gone because they don't even own it. I spent £500 on this mic, and I get no status or validation from it. Whereas the guy that released their C-Class for a month for £500, they're going to get plenty of fake validation because he's stepping out in it every single day. People can see his £500 investment. But me, I invest into this and no one can see it. Most people that are watching this don't even know how much this is worth. So people that really aren't really making it in life, people that aren't really successful, what they're going to do to try and fool you is give you physical markers of wealth. Whereas if you look at all the richest people in the world, none of it is physical at all. They might come up on stage to their keynote speech and they're looking scruffy as hell. I mean, look at Steve Jobs. Look at some of these CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg. They look as if they're dressing in Primark clothes, TK Maxx clothes. But what you don't know is they got £50,000 to do that speech. I think, was it Ben Shapiro that I saw online? I saw how much he gets per speech. He said he gets £100,000 per speech. But you're going to look at the man and look at him by the car he drives and probably doesn't even own. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. So on your journey to start really building your life for yourself and building actual money, people are going to start looking down at you because all the idiots that don't know about the real markers of wealth, they're going to think you're a loser because you're still wearing the same dead clothes. You haven't been on holiday for 5 years, but they think that you're broke, but because they're and they think they're doing well for themselves because they've got a lease which is going to run out in 5 years and the car's not even theirs. Let's get this straight. The car's not even theirs. At the end of the 5 years, they either have to return it or they're going to have to pay for the remainder of that car in cash. And because they've leased it, the chance of them actually paying off is almost zero. That's how it works. If they were going to buy a car in cash, they were going to buy it in cash in the first place. The people that do finance and HP and all the other kind of things, they do not pay the remainder of the balance because they like the monthly payments. Because the monthly payments allow anyone to access a nice car. Look, it's not hard. You can work in Tesco's, make 30k a year and then buy a nice car on lease. Well done you. But you're going to disregard the guy who made £100,000 in dividends and put 10k of that onto a second-hand car and he's got 90k left to put on his business and put into savings. You're going to disregard him because he's driving a Nissan car. You're going to disregard him because he's driving a Toyota Prius. You're going to disregard him because he's not got any designer clothes. Who's really going to have the last laugh at the end of the day? When rich people buy expensive clothes, even then it's clothes that you can't even tell it's expensive. So they might buy designer clothes, but it's going to be clothes that doesn't have the brand displayed all over. The only place you're going to have the brand logo is in the collar. Apart from that, you won't be able to tell that suit is worth £10,000. You will have no idea. Yes, what I'm saying is, some of you guys don't realize this, but some rich people, they spend more on a single suit than you spent on your car for the whole year. Some rich people, their socks cost more than your Air Force Ones, my G. It's nuts, and it's so sad because in the middle class and in the lower class, they're just so busy trying to show off physical markers of wealth that money which they could have spent putting into long-term investments is no longer accessible because they spent it on physical markers of wealth. That £1,000 Louis Vuitton shoes is just £1,000 taken away from a potential investment. So me, with my mindset now, anytime I see a guy that's not like really, really rich, because if you're really, really rich, and fair enough, you can buy whatever you want and you're still going to be rich. But anytime I see a normal person, quote unquote, normal person with 1,000 pair of shoes, I don't see it as, wow, that's someone to look up to. I just see it as a guy who's like, whoa, you just spent £1,000 on those shoes. You could have put that towards your new business. You could have put that towards the stock market. You could have put that towards investments. You could have put that towards your mortgage. Anytime I see a person with a luxury car that's normal, I think that £30,000 which you're going to spend over the next 3, 4, 5 years, that's money you could have put into investments which could turn into £1 million in the future. But you were so busy looking at the short term that you've closed your eyes off to the long-term rewards. But the truth is, the rich people look at those who don't have much money, that buy luxury cars and buy luxury items, luxury clothes. They look at them as foolish because they know the middle class and the lower class are limited in their money and they have to be more maneuverable with what little they have. And if you're just blowing it all on expensive designer clothes, expensive luxury cars, you're never ever going to become rich. So they're actually looking down at us and they're pitting us for doing those things. It's nothing to be proud of for spending £3,000 on your latest drip, bro. It's nothing to be proud of for buying a luxury car when you're only 25 and you got your first job. It's only making you poorer, but you think that, wow, look at all the status I'm going to get. Look at all the girls I'm going to get from having this car. That's why you're really doing it. You're doing it not to actually build wealth. You're doing it to show off to other people. And the moment your mind is in that trap is the moment you're in that trap for life, because that is the trap that all the rich people who own these brands want to put onto us. They want us to get addicted to validation. But what you'll come to realize is our need for validation in lower class and middle class societies is exactly why we're going to stay poor. Because as we chase that validation, we're going to keep on buying things that do not allow us to build generational wealth. As we keep chasing validation, we're going to make stupid and stupider decisions with where we spend our money. The rich owners of these luxury brands and luxury cars, they want us lower class and middle class people to become addicted to their offerings so they can become rich. It's our excessive need for validation which keeps us poor, but those guys who don't even need the validation to stay rich forever. You're fueling them being rich by you trying to make yourself appear to be rich. Who's the real fool here? They're dangling the carrot and saying, look, you can get a Mercedes C-Class, £500 a month, and you can appear to be rich, and you can get all the superficial validation. Without you realizing that the true rich, they do not care about validation. You know why? Because they're actually rich. Once you actually have money, you stop caring to actually want to show it off. Once you actually have money, you don't care what other people think of you. You actually have money. And the reason why people like Kevin Samuels says that movie stars, musicians, and people like them don't count in this high value man type of thing is because they get their money a different type of way. Because when you go to 0 to 60 so fast with the money, you really don't appreciate your money. And that's why a lot of those quote unquote rich guys spend their money crazy on designer clothes and designer things and luxury cars, is because they don't value money, because they don't actually know how money actually works. They had a talent, they got the money, but they don't know exactly what it took for that money to come to them. They don't see all the behind the scenes of selling the tickets, the marketing, the press deals, the TV deals that happen behind the scenes for them to get that money. They just merely have a talent and they take off a small part of the cream and become quote unquote rich. But when you actually know how money works and you started a business from scratch, when you became an employee, you climbed the corporate ladder, when you get your money the legitimate way and you grind out for it and you know how hard it was to make the extra pound, how hard it was to make the extra dollar, you really start to value every single cent that comes from your bank account. And when you value every single cent which comes from your bank account, best believe you do not buy things which make you poorer or stagnant. You only focus your money on things that are going to make you richer. And what I'm trying to say to you is those things more often than not are things that other people cannot see. And for that reason, they're going to think that you're poor and they're doing better than you and you're not moving ahead. But really and truly, behind the closed doors, you're doing so much better than them because they don't even see, they're not even cognizant of what's happening with all the investments that you have. They cannot see your investments. They don't know how investments work. They don't know what asset even means. They think rich equals showing off what you have. No. The richest people in the world care nothing to showing off their money to you. Your need for validation of the people next door who aren't even rich themselves is what is keeping you poor. So that's why now I don't buy shoes for any more than £50. I do have nice shoes, but if I'm going to buy them, they best be on sale. Oh, I love a sale. I love a cheap sale of designer items because I can get designer items, but at the same cheap price, which I like. I love investing my money into things which people can't see. I have many SD cards that are worth £100, £200 each, but people cannot see that. Once you start becoming that guy who doesn't care about what people think about him, then you're going to start your wealth start to grow because you're going to see the world in a whole new different way. You see, when rich people get around the dinner table, they don't talk about what car they're driving, what clothes they're going to buy, where they're going for holiday. They're talking about ideas that they can potentially turn into a new business which is going to make them plenty of money. Whereas if you go to lower class communities, they're thinking about what clothes they're going to buy, all the money they're going to spend by going to concerts, what car or clothes they're going to buy, the holidays they're going to go to, and do their holidays on a credit card, which is just so nuts to me. If you're buying a holiday on a credit card, there's your problem, bro. If you're buying your holidays on credit cards, you deserve everything that's coming next for you. And what's coming next for you is financial destruction. If you can't see that buying holidays on credit cards is destroying you, then I am very fearful of where you're going to end up in the future. I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. I'm genuinely very fearful of these people. There's one thing taking out debt to buy potential assets, but when you're buying liabilities with debt, then my God, your future forecast is looking terrible. So you've really got to get into this mindset of growth, this mindset of buying things only if they make you more money. You want to buy something for £10, which turns into £100. You see, when you watch Dragon's Den, when you watch Shark Tank, they are investing into companies which is going to get them a return. They don't invest into companies which they see their money dwindle down to zero, but you do. You buy that £100,000 car, and within 5 years, it's worth £50,000. Rich people aim to do the absolute opposite. Rich people, when they're around the dinner table, they discuss how many staff they employed the last week, what new markets they're going into, which new countries they're going into, new ideas for their business, new products, new toolings. They might talk about their lawyers and their patents. They might talk about how to avoid more tax through legal loopholes in the system. But it's sad when you go around lower class and middle class communities, all they talk about really is things that are going to make them poorer in the future. For me, it's like, bun that. I only want to talk about things which make me more money. And the reason I bought this £500 microphone is I hope to see a return on investment in this within the next couple of years. I have two ways to make money from this. One, through HezyTek Productions, my company that I own. And two, through the Hezron Springer Show. One day we're going to get ads on this show, and this is the microphone which is going to give us the ads, because this is providing me with super high quality sound. I didn't buy this because I wanted to buy it. I bought it because it was an investment. That's the next thing. When you're in the lower class and middle class society, you buy things you want. Rich people, they buy things they need. They might not necessarily want to buy those things, but they take the short-term pain because they know it's going to pay off if all things work out. Believe me, there was plenty of microphones for £100, £200, £300, but I bought the absolute best of the best because I see this as an investment play for the future. I want the best of the best, so when people come onto my videos, they see, oh my god, look at the audio quality, it is stellar, it is crispy, it sounds so fresh. Hopefully growing my engagement rate, my subscriber count and my view count. It's all about investing for the future. So yeah, my brother, stop buying those new trainers, bro. The rich are looking at you like you're an idiot for buying them. Stop buying designer clothes, my brother. The rich would rate you far, 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 far more if you started coming to them and telling them about the investments you've made into yourself. That's spiritually, mentally and emotionally. And then therefore after that, investments with money into the world around you. This is the Hezron Springer Show.